All right, what up, people? It's got me. It's insisting I have to rotate. So let's try that again. What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Goon Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is a reactionary video to some news because Arsenal made some moves. That's right. It looks as though we went ahead and gambled anyway. Arsenal have officially confirmed that we have appointed 37-year-old Mikel Arteta. I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is this is scary. It's scary that Arsenal have gone and done it. It's scary that they have decided that they've decided to essentially go all the way with it and appoint Mikel Arteta. Well, I want to try and be more positive about this than I have been over the last couple of days. This guy, by all intents and purposes, and from all sorts of reports that we're hearing, is supposed to be hot shit as manager. And by all intents and purposes, he, is he's the man behind the man. I mean, that's the way people tell the story, that he is the guy who is instrumental to Pep. Supposedly, when he said goodbye to the Man City players, I think it was on Wednesday, they were in tears. They were in tears. They didn't want him to go. He was instrumental in that setup. And he's supposed to be great as manager. He's supposed to be a great integral part of that team. And speaking of teams, the backroom staff is looking like Mikel Arteta is the head coach. Steve Round, sorry, I keep laughing at that. I don't know why. Steve Round, former Everton and very integral to David Moyes' early success, actually, at Everton. And Moyes, of course, took him back in order to take the United job. And we know what happened there. But I won't blame that on Steve Round. So Steve Round looks like he's going to be part of the Arsenal setup. Including some Man City coaches, a couple of Man City coaches. Freddie is still going to remain as part of the setup for now, as is Per. But yeah, it is what it is. It's going to be a whole new look, a whole new feel, a whole new experiment. And I think from my perspective, and I said this on yesterday's show, there is going to be some immediate challenges for Mikel Arteta. One of them is going to be getting the respect of the players that are there. We know from our own experience that half the players supposedly want to leave. My attitude on that is, see ya, good riddance, let the door hit you on a couple of times on the way out. That is kind of my attitude. One of them is Granit Xhaka. Please go. Please go. Anything I can do to facilitate your departure, I'll be happy to do. So it's come out that he wants to go and leave and go to Hertha Berlin. And I'll talk more about that later because I've just decided, you know what? Right, I go. I'm bringing Eagle Eye back early. So I'll talk about that a bit early on the Eagle Eye show later. So he wants to go. Ozil wants to go. Supposedly, Aubameyang and Lacazette are considering their futures as well. I think from Arteta's point of view, it's always difficult because whenever you go into the first management role and you have a team of any type, I think your challenge in any case is to get the respect of your team quickly, and really set the level of expectations you want from that team. So I think that will be his biggest challenge. He's taking over properly from the Bournemouth game, so he's only going to be present at the Everton game on Saturday. So the Everton game, they'll still be under Freddie's charge, and Mikel Arteta will just be watching from the stands. And then officially next week, he starts the job proper. So let's see. I mean, he has glowing endorsements from everyone, like I mentioned earlier, from Pep to Arsene Wenger to Poch, weirdly, to Julian Lescott as well, weirdly. So clearly, people clearly like this dude. So maybe he has something about him that suggests that he could be worth a damn. I don't know. But it is what it is. But yeah, Mikel Arteta, Arsenal manager. I can't believe we've done it. I can't. From my own perspective, and I'll say this before, and I said this before, and I'll say this again. I said this on Monday, and it got me hella grief. And I'll say it again. I'm not Mikel Arteta in, but I'm not Mikel Arteta out. I'm perfectly reasonable in that I want to see what this guy can do. I do wish him all the best because I think, quite honestly, they've really, really stuck it on this guy. I mean, they've given him a lot to sort out in a very limited amount of time. And I said this on Twitter. It's kind of like when you have an old house, when you've inherited through whatever means an old house, and the plaster's everywhere, and there's damp, there's rats in a couple of the rooms. And the roofing requires to be fixed. Now you can either do a little cosmetic cleanup and just try and rock it out and hope that when you get visitors, they ignore that foul smell like we've been doing over the last couple of years, or you just start again. I mean, gut this house out if necessary, repair the structure, and then you can start to have nice things like a 20 goals a season striker. You can have all those things, and that's kind of why I like the idea. If we are going to get Arteta, I quite like the idea of just taking, and I said this 2 years ago, I quite like the idea of taking a step back in order to take some steps forward. Now, admittedly, we've taken a couple of steps more than I wanted to, but if it results in us taking steps forward, so be it. Maybe this is necessary. Maybe this is what had to happen in order for us to progress. From my perspective, and in Arteta's perspective, I just want him to be able to make good decisions. I'm not that fussed about style of football at this stage, but I know he is. He said it on many interviews that he wants his teams not necessarily to play football with possession per se, but to be effective with that possession, as well as to try and entertain, because people pay to watch Arsenal, and he wants his teams to entertain. No issue with that. That's what he wants to do. No issue with that. From my perspective, I just want talented players in the squad and people who will get the best out of players. And if his team, and he's going to need his backroom staff, if his team can get the best out of the young players we have, because at this moment in time, that has to be our future. It's not the likes of an Aubameyang who's down near 31. It's not the likes of Mesut Ozil. It's not the likes of Granit Xhaka, unfortunately, because although Granit Xhaka is not that old, he doesn't have the appropriate attitude to build a club around. It's not the likes of Lacazette, because to me, Lacazette, I know he's been dealing with an injury, but he hasn't been playing like someone who wants to stay. So if any of them don't want to stay, see ya. All the best. The club moves on without you. Because as I've always said, and as I said for the last couple of days now, the club is first. Not football fan channels, not any other stupid thing that we always get stuck into on Twitter. The club is first. Arsenal is first. And it's time we as fans do our part in this rebuilding job. Maybe as fans, we also need to rebuild ourselves and the way we support our team. And for me, and this is why I didn't understand why people were getting annoyed when I said I wasn't Arteta in. I have no reason yet to be Arteta in. But I am, for better or worse at this point, always Arsenal in. And for that, if it means us rebuilding ourselves and constructing a good youth system that produces constant young players, and if it means that we have to sell some of our top stars in order to improve long-standing issues like our defensive midfielder position, like our midfield position, like our defense, like our goalkeeper, even though I think Leno's done quite well this season, right? If that's what it means, so be it. Let's build this team. Let's build it for something. Let's actually go out there and achieve something. And even if it takes 2-3 years to get there, so be it. Liverpool did that. People forget the rebuilding job now. That's exactly what Liverpool did. Klopp came in there and he knew they weren't ready for nothing. He knew they weren't ready for anything. So you eventually saw out the Steven Gerrards and you saw out all the people that had just been collecting wages, your Cisse's and people like that. And he was like, all right, cool. Now I'm going to rebuild this team in my vision with depending on young players and dependable senior guys like your Milners, your Hendersons, people like that. And look at them now. They're the best team in Europe. That's what I want from my Arsenal team. Admittedly, there's a big difference between Mikel Arteta and Jurgen Klopp, even at that stage of his career. But we are where we are now. Arsenal have decided to go all in, hoping for a runner. If you're a poker fan, you know what I'm talking about with that expression. So we've gone all in. Let's hope our cars come out. But anyway, this was a real quick reactionary video. I'll do a more in-depth one when I talk a bit later on for Eagle Eye. But thank you for everyone watching. I know Lee was also doing a stream, but listen, my lunch break's ending. So I had to drop one real quick. But please do me a favor, guys. Please, before you click that X, stick a like on this video, please. It helps others jump on it, notice it, watch it, and that helps the channel grow. Obviously, if you're watching me for the first time, hit that subscribe button. I'll be back later on with Eagle Eye, where I'll talk about some of the transfer rumours in more depth. Not only outgoings, but incomings as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Please do stick a like on this video, guys. I really appreciate it. All right, I hope you like my Christmas jumper too. All right, I'm out of here. Take care. Deuces.